Well, now I have two little kids. I have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. So they are definitely my motivation. I mean, I want them to see the world. Growing up, we didn't travel again internationally at all, but I want to show these kids the world.
Hello, everyone. I am Melissa Forziat of Take the Doughnut, here to help you get inspiration and get donuts. I'm a motivational keynote speaker, and today I'm bringing you a very exciting Take the Doughnut interview with Johnny Jett, who was named the original travel influencer by Forbes and has been a travel content creator since 1995 and has visited over 70 countries, I believe, in the process of your travels. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to talk with you. I mean, just by hearing a little bit about who you are, I think it's very clear why I'm interviewing you today. But before we get into any more serious questions, let me ask you this. What's your favorite donut?
Oh man, I love donuts. I don't live very far from Randy's Donuts, which is famous here in LA. And I usually get either their apple fritter or their glaze with sprinkles on top. And anyway, I'll take any of them.
That's the way to go. Shout out to Randy's Donuts. Oh my goodness. Well, okay, so those are the favorite donuts. You've got some options there. And I said just a little bit about you up front, but tell us more about yourself. What should we know about you?
Well, you know what? I grew up in Connecticut. We never traveled that much. I had 6 people in my family, so it was expensive back then. Our trips were mostly driving. And when we did fly, which was just a handful of times, I loved it. I was fascinated by it. I still am today that, I could go from freezing cold Connecticut and 2 hours later be in hot and sunny Florida. But when I was in high school, I had it's a long story, but I had an anxiety attack in the airport. I was going on my first international trip. I talked my mom into going to Australia, where my sisters were living at the time. And this is when Crocodile Dundee came out. And we get to the airport. First, before we go to the airport, my mom took me to my asthma doctor, which was newly diagnosed. And the doctor was like, "You going to Australia? That's a 27-hour flight. You might have a hard time breathing because planes are pressurized." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Planes are pressurized? What does that mean?" And anyway, I had a total anxiety attack in the airport. My mom thought I was joking when I said I can't go because I talked her into it for months. It was her first international trip as well. Anyway, when she realized I was not joking because I started crying, she started crying. Then my dad started crying because he thought he had the house to himself for 2 weeks. And anyway, from there, I did not get on a plane for 3 years. And I was just not only afraid to fly, I was afraid to leave the house. And then I got over my fear. Turns out that my asthma doctor was giving me too much medication. My parents took me to all kinds of doctors, and a homeopathic doctor is the one that figured it out. He's like, "You're on too much medication. It's giving you anxiety." And anyway, I got over my fear of flying, went to school in California where I am now, fell in love with California. And my girlfriend in college, her parents lived all around the world. And my first year, she invited me to Singapore, and I was like, I can't go to Singapore. I was still afraid to fly a long distance and fly. I didn't know if I'd be able to breathe on the plane. I didn't know if I'd be able to breathe in Asia. But anyway, the next year, she invited me to Hong Kong, and I did it. And she only flew business class or first class, and I wasn't going to sit in the back of the bus. So I bought a business class ticket through a consolidator. I did a lot of research, and it was only $300 more than coach. And let me tell you, if you want to have your first out of coach experience, you want to do it on a trans-Pacific flight. I fell in love with flying up front. I fell in love with travel, Hong Kong, and I got addicted to my miles from that one ticket. I had so many free miles, I was able to get a round trip ticket in the US. So anyway, I graduated from college, started a newsletter, and then 5 years later, created my website, and I've been around for a while.
There's so many amazing things in that story, but part of it is overcoming the initial anxiety attack. I mean, you were given information that I don't know, maybe it was not true entirely, and maybe also it was, you were not being treated properly at the time. I don't know what what
Right.
the combination of things was, but now that you've traveled so much, I think you realize like you can breathe on planes and you can breathe in Asia, like you can breathe in all these places. But
Definitely.
to overcome that and to have it be the thing that you do the most is so amazing to me, because how many of us experience anxiety and become avoidant, and you started that way and then you overcame that. So to me, that's as much of a donut as any other donut you took. And that whole process, it's amazing.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, let me reset this conversation for folks who've never seen a Take the Donut interview before. Take the Donut for me is an expression that's the same as carpe diem. It's all about going after the things that you want in life. And it comes from this thing that happened to me in college where I left an actual donut on a table, but it became an object lesson for me and what it looks like to leave opportunities behind. So I don't want to do that anymore. I want to take the donut. So this conversation is all about going after the things that you want, goals, dreams, whatever opportunities that come your way. And what does that actually look like for us when we go to do it? So, to that end, let me ask you this. How are you with going after goals? What is that process like for you?
I mean, usually if I set a goal, I achieve it. I'm very fortunate. I've been successful in a lot of different ways. In college, I was the all-time leader at our school in lacrosse goals in scoring. And I'd set a goal literally. I wanted to be the leader. I wanted to have the most goals in a game, most goals in the season. And then when I started doing my website, I wanted to be able to travel. But I never did it to make money. It was really just to share my experiences. I knew how terrible it was to be afraid of, not only to be afraid to fly, but afraid to leave the house. So I was really just trying to get people out there and see the world. Because as corny as it sounds, I truly believe that the more people travel internationally, the less prejudices there will be in the world. And my goal was just to show people what's out there. Because when I graduated college, I took a job at a college as a college recruiter. And I was usually just traveling around locally in cars, but everyone in the office quit. So all of a sudden, I got all these territories. I was going to 26 states, including Hawaii, 3 times a year. So I started mastering how to travel on a tight budget, because when you're working for a college, they put you on a tight budget. And I was staying in 5-star hotels because I would research, I would learn all these tricks. I was flying first class because once you go up front, you don't want to go in the back. And so I had to figure out a way. I didn't have the money, so I had to figure out a way to do it. And so I just started sharing my secrets. And so I just started setting goals, saying, "Hey, you guys want to travel like me?" And my friends were like, "Of course I do." Everyone they hired in the office. And so I just started teaching it. I started teaching seminars at college conferences. I had the most popular one there, was standing room only. I did it with a buddy of mine, and then I went out on my own. And I've been fortunate. So it's been a long time.
Yeah, and it sounds like you were empowered from achieving goals early in life to achieve more goals later in life. I think when you start to develop a mindset that you can do things, I think it makes you want to do more things. So it sounds like there was a ripple effect that that had for you. When you
Definitely.
have something really big that you're going after, what's something that keeps you motivated in the process on the journey, a long journey towards a goal?
Well, now I have 2 little kids. I have a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. So they are definitely my motivation. I mean, I want them to see the world. Growing up, we didn't travel again internationally at all, but I want to show these kids the world. And I've been fortunate. My son, who's 8, has been to 19 countries, and my daughter, who's 5, has been to, I think, 15. So, every year we try to go to a couple countries, and I just want them to see different cultures, try different foods, and, get away from the convenience of being home and just seeing new things and meeting people. And that's the best thing about travel. And, trying to show these guys all different places in the world is just, I see these new places through their eyes. I mean, even when we go back to the same ones. So it's,
Hmm.
that is my goal, is to show these guys the world.
That's amazing. And then you get to re-experience these places. And have there been any favorites for them so
Yeah.
far?
Yeah. We just got back from Fiji and Australia a couple months ago. And I mean, we're going to Hawaii in a few weeks. And they're like, can we go to Fiji? I'm like, oh, what? We're going to Hawaii. But they've been to Hawaii many times. But Fiji is just completely different. And they had a babysitter. You can get babysitters are like $5 an hour. They cover both kids. But the people are so nice. The friendliest people in the world, I believe, are on the outer islands of Fiji. And they just want to go back and see her and see that. And they also love Australia because of all the animals. But they also love Europe. I mean, they haven't been to Asia yet, which I want to take them to. That's one of my favorite places to go to.
So wonderful. Well, when you think about challenges that typically come up for you, for most of us, when we go after things that we want or that we need to do, a lot of times obstacles come in our way. And for you, is there any specific brand of challenge that just keeps coming up over and over again? Like when you embark on a new task, what can you expect to be your Achilles heel every time?
That's a good question. I I mean, for in terms of travel, it's money. I mean, you got to, but in terms of work wise, it's just trying to keep up. I mean, there's so much work. I get so many emails. I want to respond to everyone. Unfortunately, I can't. But it's just trying to, maintain a community and having my readers trust me. So I'll write about stuff. No matter who's paying, tell it the way it is. So I think that might be the toughest part is just, staying afloat and trying to write everything. I mean, there's so many stories to write.
Yeah, there's just not enough time in the day and also not enough money to travel. Okay, so those are the challenges that we need to overcome on a consistent basis. When you think back on your life, and this could be a personal answer or a professional answer, what would you say is the biggest donut you've ever taken? Biggest thing you've gone after?
It was definitely going out on my own. I worked at the college my first 5 years after college, and I created this website. I had a student worker help me create this website. And then within 3 months, USA Today wrote about it. And once they wrote about it, it gave me the confidence because all of a sudden I started getting all these interviews, news, radio, TV, and the traffic just started going up. And my friends were like, my God, your website's, you're getting a lot of traffic. You can make some money. And, my first paycheck was from an affiliate. I didn't know what affiliates were until one of my friends I had lunch with. He's like, you should sign up for affiliates where, a company will pay you a fee for, referring people to them. And my first paycheck was like 26 cents. It costs more for them to send the stamp, send the letter, the check than the actual paycheck. But he's like, look, your company makes money. So I took a chance. I went out and created my company and quit my job. My mom was sick with cancer for 3 years. And I was sick and tired of asking my boss if I could go to Connecticut every other weekend to see her. And I would just spend I'd always take a 3-day weekend to go see her. And so I just took a chance to spend more time with her and also try and make this work and knock on wood. I've been doing it for over 25 years.
I mean, you're
Almost 30
doing
years.
something right? You're doing a lot of things right. A lot of people
Yeah.
can't stay afloat for even 1 year in a business, and to be doing what you're doing and to make it a quarter of a century, that's unbelievable. Um, and I'm sure it's opened up a lot of people's eyes and impacted how they travel as well.
I hope so. And that's what I hear from my readers. And that's what keeps me going. I mean, really, it's sharing my experiences, but trying to get people out there to make their own experiences and see the world.
Mm. What's a donut that you're taking now?
What's the donut I'm taking now? Um, what's the donut I'm taking now? You need to explain that one a little bit better for me.
What are you going after? What are
Okay,
you trying
gotcha.
to accomplish? Or what opportunities are presenting
I mean,
themselves?
I would love to do a TV show with my kids so I can have them documented while they're little and show other families how to travel or why it's so important to travel and have some meaningful travel and things to do. Because I know a lot of people, I meet parents all the time at the school saying, oh, I'm afraid to take my kids on a long flight or even on any flight. And I listen, we were too. But once you do it and you teach them some tricks or show them the way, I mean, one of our tricks, by the way, is that we don't let our kids use iPads except on a plane. And once they get on the plane with an iPad, you will not hear a word out of them. They put their headphones on, and I have to beg them to go to the bathroom. Go, listen, they just want to watch their TV shows, and because they don't get to do that at home. So, but I think it'd be important to show other families that you can do it, and you don't have to have a lot of money to do it either.
Mm, so wonderful. So, given that we're talking so much about the people who are following your journey, let's speak to them directly. So there may be people who are watching this who have a donut of their own that they want to take in their life. Maybe it's still just an idea for them, or maybe it's something that they've started on that road and they're looking for motivation to keep going. So let's sprinkle some encouragement. And what would you say to those people?
I mean, just follow your heart and do stuff that you love. And I mean, and in terms of travel, you know what? There are a lot of excuses why not to do it. People are either afraid, they don't have the money, but if you go and get a Starbucks every single day, you stop doing that, put that $5 a day, you'll have enough money to travel. There's also websites that will allow you to, experience life like a local. You can sleep on people's couches if you're single. If you have families, you can rent Airbnbs or other houses. I mean, there's a lot of different things people can do. I'm not sure if that's what you were asking for, but I'm happy to explain it more.
Yeah. And well, and to that end, you also have so many resources out there that people can check out. So for those who actually want to find what you're already putting out there, where can they find you? What link should I put in the description?
Well, my website's johnnyjet.com, JOHNNYJET, 1T.com. I'm not related to Joan, unfortunately. Joan Jett, in case you guys didn't get that joke, I might be a little bit too old for you.
I hate myself for loving you. What else did she have? I'm trying,
All right, good.
trying to go back and think. Yeah.
All right. But also my social handles are almost all Johnny Jet, JOHNNYJET, on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I think it's Johnny Jet 747. My personal one is Johnny Jet, but you don't want to be on there because it's most of my friends on there and I say crazy stuff.
Okay. Well, I'll be sure to put those links into the description to make it really easy for people to find what you're putting out there. It sounds like there's a ton of reason for people to follow you and pay attention to what you're putting out in the world, and it can change everybody's lives when they travel. So,
my big thing is my newsletter. By the way, I have a daily travel tip. It's free. I also have a weekly newsletter if you don't want to get a daily newsletter. So that's my big thing. You just go to johnnyjet.com. And you can see the sign up box, or you can just Google Johnny Jet newsletter and you'll see it.
I am very likely going to go just sign up for that immediately after hanging up with you. I am very excited to get your tips on travel. This is something that I've always enjoyed doing, but the thing when you travel is you can always travel more. And
definitely,
like there's never a limit, there's never an end to it, and there's always more ideas to get. So this is so good.
Yeah, I was going to 20 countries a year right before I had kids, and but last year I think we went to 10 countries, and I mean that's a lot. But I do have friends who go to like 30 countries a year. So
I mean it's so impressive. It's just and the way that it expands your mind, and I think the way it shifts what time feels like for me is also something that I always find interesting when you travel. Like you disorient yourself so much that 1 hour feels like a whole day sometimes, and you can experience so much in that time.
Oh, definitely. We went to Sydney, and after 24 hours, I go, listen, if we had to go home right now, we would still feel like we did so much in one day. So, I mean, people think when you go to Australia or somewhere, you need to have like 3 weeks. You don't need to go for 3 weeks. If you can go for 5 days, that's a great trip. So even 3 days. I mean, I've gone to Japan for one night. I've gone to Hawaii for dinner. Even just these little trips, you feel like you've done so much, and it's better than not going at all.
Absolutely. I think as long as you adjust to the time difference and you're able to manage that piece, I think it's amazing what you can accomplish in a short amount of time somewhere.
I mean, sometimes when you go for less time, I have friends who work for airlines. Like one works for Singapore or British Airways, and my friends they'd fly New York to Singapore, arrive in the morning and leave in the evening. They wouldn't even spend the night. And that way they would not get jet lagged. And same thing, my friend would go New York to London twice a week. They wouldn't spend the night.
Wow.
It's crazy, but some people do it that way and they can figure it out.
So amazing. Well, everybody, be sure to check out the resources that Johnny shared with us. There's so many good pieces of information for you to glean there it sounds like at the pace that you want as well, daily, weekly, whatever. And if you liked hearing Johnny's story, be sure to like and subscribe on this video because there are so many inspirational interviews still to come. But in the meantime, Johnny, thank you so much for taking a bit of time and sharing your philosophies with us and sharing your thoughts about going after opportunity.
Thank you for having me.
And to everybody who's watching this, you know what to do. Go out there, get inspiration, and get donuts.
I'm going to buy a donut right now.
Let's go to Randy's Donuts, everyone. Bye, everyone.